The Clumsy Girl and the Crown. Once upon a time, in the bustling kingdom of Eldoria, there lived a girl named Tilly. Now, Tilly wasn't just any girl. She was a charming whirlwind of chaos, ambition, and unshakable optimism. She lived in a quaint little village where her primary occupation was mending shoes, or at least attempting to. More often than not, her repairs left soles flapping worse than before. But fixing shoes wasn't Tilly's dream. Oh no. Her heart yearned for something far grander, to be the royal pastry chef in the magnificent castle perched on the hill. The thought of creating desserts fit for kings and queens filled her with excitement, even though her track record in the kitchen was, well, less than promising. Meanwhile, up in the castle, Prince Adrian was facing a struggle of his own. He was handsome, poised, and every bit the perfect prince. But life as the heir to the throne was dull, filled with endless banquets and meetings. Adrian secretly yearned to escape the monotony of palace life, to experience the world outside the castle gates. Little did he know, his life was about to collide with a certain clumsy, cake-loving girl. Announcements swept through Eldoria like wildfire. The castle was holding a competition to find new royal pastry chef. When Tilly heard the news, she nearly dropped the boot she was working on. "This is my chance, Mabel," she exclaimed to her best friend who was sitting nearby, knitting. "Tilly, last week you earned water," Mabel replied, not looking up. "Details," Tilly said with a dismissive wave. "It's fine." For days, she worked tirelessly in her tiny kitchen. It became a chaotic storm of flour clouds, broken eggs, and half-burnt attempts at sponge cakes. By the time the competition day arrived, Tilly had produced her pièce de résistance, a towering, slightly crooked cake that leaned dangerously to one side. When she carried it into the castle's grand hall, her nerves were rattling like loose teacups. Prince Adrian, bored and half listening to the contestants being announced, perked up as Tilly's cake made its debut. Unfortunately, Tilly's elbow made its debut too. Right into the table. The entire cake wobbled, tipped, and, in dramatic slow motion, crashed directly onto Adrian. "Oh no!" Tilly gasped, sprinting toward him with a napkin. "I'm so sorry. I'll bake you another one. Or 10. I'll bake cakes forever if it helps." Adrian, wiping frosting off his royal jacket, did something no one expected. He laughed. "It's fine," he said with a grin. "That's the most exciting thing that's happened to me all week." Although Tilly didn't win the competition, her chaotic determination caught the eye of the royal steward. "You didn't make the cut," he said, "but you're too unique to ignore. You'll be an assistant in the castle kitchen." Tilly's face lit up like a festival lantern. "I'll make desserts fit for a king." "All ones that don't explode," the steward muttered under his breath. Life in the castle wasn't as glamorous as Tilly had imagined. Her first task? Peeling potatoes. Not exactly the dessert-making magic she'd dreamed of. And, of course, her clumsiness followed her everywhere. During her second week, she accidentally dropped an entire tray of custard pies. Where did they land? Directly on Prince Adrian. "We've got to stop meeting like this," he joked, wiping custard off his crown. "She'd maybe wear a raincoat next time?" Tilly shot back, her cheeks burning. Despite her mishaps, Adrian found himself intrigued by Tilly. She was funny, unfiltered, and unafraid to fail. He began sneaking into the kitchen, under the pretense of checking on the staff. Tilly, however, was oblivious. "Why is the prince always here?" she whispered to Mabel one day. "Do you think he's secretly inspecting the potatoes?" "No, you ninny," Mabel said, rolling her eyes. He likes you. Tilly laughed at the absurdity. Prince, interested in her? Impossible. Tilly worked harder than ever to improve her baking. She burned soufflés, collapsed cakes, and even set the stove on fire once. But slowly, she began to improve. One evening, she successfully made a batch of perfect macarons. Not bad, the head chef said gruffly, tasting one. But you've got a long way to go. Tilly stayed up late every night, practicing by candlelight. Adrian often joined her, though his help mostly involved stealing bites of her creations and offering ridiculous suggestions. You should add chili powder to the cookies, he said one night, leaning against the counter. Do you want to poison the royal family? Tilly retorted, throwing flour at him. When the kingdom announced a grand feast for Adrian's birthday, Tilly saw her chance to shine. She proposed an ambitious idea, a massive cake shaped like the castle itself. Are you sure you can pull this off? The head chef asked skeptically. I'll prove it, Tilly said, though her confidence wavered. For days she worked tirelessly. Adrian snuck in to cheer her on, though his antics often resulted in more distractions than motivation. Finally, the big day arrived. Tilly carefully transported the cake to the banquet hall, her heart pounding. But, true to form, disaster struck. She tripped, and the cake wobbled dangerously. Before it could topple, Adrian appeared out of nowhere, steadying both Tilly and the cake. You've got this, he said, flashing her a reassuring smile. With trembling hands, Tilly delivered the cake. The room erupted into gasps of awe. The king and queen declared it the most magnificent dessert they'd ever seen. Tilly laughed. That's because everything always goes wrong with me. Adrian took her hand. Then let me be there when it does. Tilly's heart skipped a beat. Are you proposing? Not yet, Adrian said with a grin. But I'd like to start by asking you on a date. That is, if you don't spill soup on me first. Tilly laughed, her cheeks turning pink. No promises. In the end, Tilly became the royal pastry chef, known for her incredible desserts and her even more incredible clumsiness. And as for Adrian, he got exactly what he wanted, a life full of excitement, love, and a partner who kept him laughing every step of the way. And they all lived happily and chaotically ever after.